What is up, Hybrid Beasts? Bob here with the Hybrid Beast program, and today I'm going to talk about why I don't do a cyclic ketogenic diet anymore, aka the nightmare of carb refeeds. Okay, for those who don't know, a cyclic ketogenic diet is where most of the week you're on protein and fat, standard keto, and then one time a week or every couple days, you refeed. You have some more carbohydrates. And that's actually how I started my very first real ketogenic diet. I would have ground beef and eggs twice a day, Sunday through Friday. Saturday morning, after my last workout of the week, I would have usually some Tang waiting in the car if I went to a calisthenics park to do pull-ups and dips and stuff. I would stop at a Dunkin' Donuts, grab a dozen donuts. It was a combination of clean and not so clean carbohydrates. Okay, that was the one day a week where I would consume carbohydrates. And it actually did work. Okay, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world because I'm going to tell you right now, the reason I did my refeed day on Saturday was because Sunday was my one day off of the gym. And I did not want to work out the way I felt on Sunday after eating all those carbs, especially the garbage carbs on Saturday. Okay, so basically what it really comes down to is I didn't really feel good after that. It took several days for me to get rid of the bloat, the water weight. It wasn't, even if it wasn't fat gain on that day, I just gained a lot of bloat, a lot of water weight. And it took me from, let's say, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, about Wednesday at least, to really get rid of all of the bloat. And then Saturday, I was at it again. Okay, so like I said, it certainly did work, but my weight was basically going up and down. I felt horrible the day afterwards. And eventually I just felt like I don't need it going in on Saturday. I don't need to have the carbohydrates. And I felt terrible afterwards. So I was like, well, why should I even do this? And I basically just stopped doing carb refeeds altogether. Okay. Why would people do that? First of all, a refeed is really supposed to give someone who's been dieting too hard some more calories, okay? The idea is basically you're just dieting too hard, you need some more calories, so you go ahead and you have a larger, higher calorie day, okay? A lot of people say that, to reset some, hunger signaling hormones in your body, to get your metabolism going again, you need to have carbohydrates. Talk about that in a second. So that's one of the reasons why you do a carb refeed. Vince Gironda, who suggested, that you went on a steak and eggs diet, steak and eggs twice a day. Every few days you had a little bowl of rice or something to refeed. His point was that you wouldn't get a pump if you didn't have carbohydrates. Your muscles weren't as full if you didn't have carbohydrates. So it's basically keto, and every few days you have a little bit of carbs to refeed your muscle glycogen, okay? And I think the best reason for going on a diet like this is if you are new to a ketogenic diet and you don't want to go 100% all in. It is easier for you to know that once a week you are going to be able to pig out, so to speak, on carbohydrates. A great example of this, aside from what I was doing, okay, was the carb night diet. It was basically a cyclic ketogenic diet. Women would eat 6 days of the week, no carbs, and then let's say Wednesday night, they all get together, they drink wine, they have cake, they have, pasta, whatever they wanted to have with the carbs. So basically, hey, every Wednesday the girls get together and they pig out on carbohydrates, and the rest of the week they're good, but they can stay sane because they are having that one day a week. And that's the only time that I think that this is actually helpful for somebody who's just starting a ketogenic diet. And it's just because of that mental aspect. Because afterwards, when you're really like, let's say a bodybuilder, an athlete, or you're really serious about doing keto, I don't think you should do keto, and I've said this before, if you don't actually enjoy eating meat, eggs, and dairy. Like, I don't need carbohydrates, okay? I enjoy eating my meat, eggs, and dairy, and I really don't miss the carbs. Now, that's the reason why I originally stopped doing a cyclic ketogenic diet. Why do I absolutely positively not do refeeds anymore? Well, first of all, everybody knows, if they've been following me for a while, I'm a carbohydrate addict, okay? So when I go on start eating carbohydrates, I really can't stop, and it quickly becomes a junk day for me, okay? Even if I don't eat junk, I still overeat on carbohydrates, rice, stuffing, potatoes. Like, I really like mashed potatoes. I really like stuffing, okay? Even if it's not junk food, even if it's not bread, if I just have like stuffing, I can just eat my weight in stuffing and feel horrible and eat way too much and not be able to stop. So I do not like to trigger a carbohydrate binge that may last a couple days with eating carbohydrates, which is my trigger food, okay? Even clean carbs, okay? I've actually gained, I mean, there was one time it was a Christmas. I said, fuck it, I'm going to eat what I want today. And I gained like close to 20 pounds in just a few hours. Okay. Now, first of all, like I said, I don't want to start eating carbohydrates as a carbohydrate addict any more than someone should be drinking once a week if he's an alcoholic and might end up being drunk 3 days straight and losing his job, losing his family, whatever, because he had one drink. Next thing you know, 4 days in a row, he's drunk 24 hours a day. Okay, that's the same thing that happens to me with carbs. So I don't want to trigger that. But like I said, even aside from that, like I can just gain so much weight at once, and that is extremely unhealthy. So let me just go ahead and tell you what has happened to me the last time that I did a carb refeed. And this was not a crazy carb refeed. I had a little bit of, maybe a little bit of, junk food, so to speak, like cake, or a little bit of like, chocolate covered, whatever, nuts or something like this. Not really anything crazy. Maybe a little bag of cookies, nothing really crazy. Maybe a couple bags of popcorn, which is supposedly a pretty healthy food. When I wake up these days at 48 years old after a carb refeed, even if it's somewhat controlled, somewhat clean, I don't just weigh more, but my entire face is bloated, okay? My entire body is bloated. My hands are bloated. I can feel when I move my hands how much bloat and water weight I have in my hands. It almost hurts to walk sometimes because I can feel in my feet how bloated they are. Like my shoes are tight when I put my shoes on. Absolutely feel horrible. I wake up in the morning, I have brain fog. I wake up in the morning, I have indigestion just from having a couple bags of popcorn. I just absolutely positively feel terrible. Now, the problem is I can't think straight, and the only thing that would make me think straight is like an alcoholic waking up after the first hangover, after being dry for a while. He needs to have another drink so he can think straight. I need to have more carbs so I can think straight. So either the next day is a wash if I really stay strong and don't eat any more carbs, or I perpetuate the problem by having some carbs and I feel a little bit better. And then after a couple of days of that, I'm back into eating carbs and feeling horrible, okay? So like I said, it's just the bloat and the brain fog and the indigestion and everything the next day is horrible. Now, people, once again, who watch me know everyone in my family wears glasses. Everyone in my family has high blood pressure. My blood pressure is usually at the high end of normal. Like, it's okay, it's not bad, but it's, certainly not too low. If I have a carbohydrate refeed, okay, even if it's pretty clean, even if it's pretty under control, my systolic will go up like 10, 20 points overnight. Now, if you think at 48 years old with a family history of heart problems that it is healthy to have your systolic blood pressure jump like 10, 20 points overnight, you're an idiot. Okay. One thing that I think is interesting about this is that people actually live like this. They live with this brain fog. They live with this bloat. They live not being able to move their hands and feet. They live with high blood pressure. I can't imagine this because one day it just totally blows me away. So these are all reasons why it is an absolute nightmare for me to go ahead and do carb refeeds. Okay. Now let's talk about like doing an extraordinarily perfectly clean carb refeed. Zero fun. Actually, it's a little bit fun, but zero fun, right? I've actually done calculator-based carb refeeds where I legitimately figured out exactly how many calories to the calorie I should be taking. I lowered my protein, I dropped my fat as low as possible, and I took in the perfect amount for my weight at the time of carbohydrates. The perfect amount of protein, carbohydrates, and calories for my weight. It was perfect. It was not eating what I wanted. It was eating what I should eat according to science. Basically what it was is I think it was like 6 bagels that I ate, No butter, because that's fat. No jelly or anything on that, because, you know, those are bad sugars that are going to be stored differently. So it's literally basically a couple bowls of non-fat plain Greek yogurt with whey protein, which was my protein source, only 1 gram per pound of body weight, and basically 6 bagels. So I think one time what I did is I actually spread the protein pudding, that I call it, on the bagels and ate it like that. And one time I actually just used something called Maggi. It's basically like German soy sauce. Okay, I buy it at specialty stores. And I put that on the really hot, right out of the toaster bagels, and I ate it like that. Okay, so legitimately perfect. I didn't drink any carbs, nothing. Not a beer, not wine, not juice, not soda, nothing. Just water, dry bagels with a little bit of German soy sauce on top, non-fat plain Greek yogurt, and whey protein. And guess what? 6 to 8 pounds on the scale the next day. And it took 2, 3, 4 days for me to lose that water weight. So even when I did absolutely everything perfect, clean, perfect, proper amounts, I still gained 6 to 8 pounds. So why should I do this? Okay, if I'm going to, why should I do this once a week? Imagine that, once a week, perfect, dry bagels, and then I gain 6 to 8 pounds, and it takes several days for me to lose it. And then it's almost time for me to go ahead and blow it up again. Okay, so why should I do this? Now, first of all, let me just say, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that sometimes I'll be just hanging out on a completely ketogenic diet, 0 carbs whatsoever, and I'll just notice that I just got like veins popping up, like I've got veins right now, okay? Just standing here making a video, or I'll have like veins popping out of my calves, and I'll just post a picture of them. Where does that come from? Water, electrolytes, fat. No carbs, okay? So you don't need carbs to have your muscles full or to be vascular, okay? Why else would I go ahead and do this? Let's say that I'm taking a lot of protein, not a lot of fat, not a lot of calories. I call it the pure protein diet. So do you need a carb refeed if you're taking in very few calories and your body needs a break? No, because then I do a fat refeed. Basically, instead of eating just chicken and maybe a couple almonds here and there, I would increase the calories, increase the fat by eating fatty ground beef, throwing in some eggs, throwing in, basically just eating ketogenic, high-fat keto, having a few more calories, having a lot more fat, maybe less protein on a day when I do a refeed, okay? So I refeed my body in terms of calories with energy food coming from fat, but I don't bloat and I don't get water weight because I'm not taking in carbs. I don't feel horrible. My hands don't blow up on me. My blood pressure doesn't blow up on me. I feel great. So another reason why you do not need, or I at least do not need, to do a carb refeed. Okay, I already said I enjoy the food that I eat. When I'm on keto, there's no need for me to eat donuts or bagels or anything if I am eating omelets and steaks and, drinking cream and stuff. So why should I even have that? Okay, so the only reason would be if you need, for some reason, okay, for your sport, for your workout, for some reason you need carbohydrates. And the problem that I have with the cyclic ketogenic diet is, let's say I blast a whole bunch of food, clean, dirty, whatever, on Saturday, carbs, boom. Now I have too many carbs in my body. I cannot perform well because I have too many carbs, number one. Number two, then I have less. Now all of a sudden, let's say Wednesday, Thursday, I have like 0 carbs in my body. So if I do this to refeed the carbohydrates in my body, by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I don't have any more carbs in my body. So why did I blast them last Saturday if a few days later I'm not going to have any? So it's too much at once and not enough or any at all towards the end. So it's inefficient. Another thing is I don't need carbohydrates to build muscle. I built, 13, 15 pounds in a year and a half of muscle and the strength to go with it on pure ketogenic diet. Our walks, incredible, endurance, like basically a marathon runner does better if he's fat adapted and on keto than if he's on carbs. So the only time you would really need carbohydrates is if you are doing what I'm doing right now, which is high intensity work. Like I said, like a boxer or a kickboxer hitting the pads really hard, like boom, 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 for a few seconds, short break. few seconds, short break. Jump rope for, a minute, short break. Jump rope for a minute, short break. Burpees, plyometrics, sprints, that kind of high intensity where you go 0 to 100, take a short break, and then hit it again. In that situation, yes, you would need to have some carbohydrates in your body, because I have noticed that for intervals, am much more explosive, much faster, much more powerful when I actually have carbs. But once again, not too many at once, which actually lowers my ability to function. And then too little towards the end of the week. I do what's called a targeted ketogenic diet. I take some dextrose powder before and after my workouts, exactly the proper amount that I need for my weight at that time. I take them in, hit the intervals, completely burn out all the carbs, and then I have them afterwards to help me recover. And that's the way that I do this. Either 0 carbs, straight keto, or if you are doing intervals, the perfect amount at the perfect time of the perfect type, right before and after your workout, and then that's it. So that's the way that I do it. Either 0, or if you are doing intervals, that kind of thing, then you have some dextrose powder pre and post workout with your protein shake. And that is it. So anyway, like I said, I really recommend that you do not do this. If you are somebody like these women who just wants to lose weight, and we're going to do carb night and whatever, you're a good girl all week, and then Wednesday nights you have some wine and some cake and that's it, that's fine. But if you're serious about doing this for health purposes, if you're serious about doing this to lower your blood pressure, okay, to lose weight, if you're serious about this to get strong, to get lean, to get in shape, to perform as an athlete, 99% of the people in the world would do best with a standard ketogenic diet. And the very few people who need carbs would be much better with a targeted ketogenic diet, like my hybrid keto diet in the Hybrid Beast program, because the Hybrid Beast workout includes intervals. So like I said, just something to think about. Appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, post them down below. Like I said, I love doing ketogenic diets. I love doing targeted ketogenic diets. I have done cyclic ketogenic diets. So if you have any questions about different types of diets, you just go ahead and ask me down below. I'll make videos about them. Aside from that, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video.